We welcome you inside the Galaxy Radio Studio for the second installment of Here's the Thing with Kevin Smith and Jacob Glassville. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going, running on hours worth of sleep, but, it could be worse.
It could be worse.
It could be.
Jacob, why were you up so late?
Well, I not only host a radio show here at the Galaxy Radio, but I also am the sports editor for the Journal here at Webster University. So
The Webster Journal?
The Webster Journal, and it was production night, so it's always a fun time.
It is, but you know what's even more fun?
Yeah, what's that?
Funner, even more fun time.
Knowing English?
A more fun time is Here's the Thing. And that's right now.
New day, a new time.
A new time, yeah. Wednesdays 1 to 2. If you're listening, you probably already knew that because you're listening, right?
But tell your friends.
Tell your friends, tell your family. Here's the Thing with Kevin and Jacob, Wednesdays 1 to 2. We're glad you joined us. Check us out on Facebook. It's pretty easy. The Facebook page is called Here's the Thing. You can talk to us there. Give us suggestions what you want us to talk about. Give us corrections if Jacob messes up.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, so check us out on Facebook. It's Here's the Thing. We got a good show for you today. Here's the thing. I'm a Vikings fan.
And here's the thing. I'm a Rams fan.
And they play on Sunday. And only one team can win, and that team is going to be the Vikings. So
you know what everyone's saying right now?
Go Vikings?
No, God, that was the corniest joke ever.
It wasn't a joke. I accidentally said, here's the thing.
Oh, well, then whatever. I just play along.
Yeah, see, that's how we got our show name. Because I say that a bunch, apparently. First thing, hey, man, do you like baseball?
Do we really need to ask?
The World Series happened. It's over. One team won, one team lost. The Royals won.
I'm ecstatic that the Royals won. Anything to keep a New York team from winning, because I don't want to deal with the entire offseason with them obnoxious New York fans.
Are Mets fans as obnoxious as Yankees fans, though? Because I feel like they're two separate worlds because the Mets haven't been good since the 80s.
Yeah, but when the Mets are good, everyone starts freaking out. And it's like, take a chill pill. We don't want to have to listen to your New York accents all the time. Matt Harvey, man.
Let's talk about Matt Harvey.
Oh, boy.
Here's what happened. The Royals were trailing, headed into the ninth inning. Terry Collins, the Mets manager, decides to pull Matt Harvey. He had pitched 8 innings, was pitching very well. And Matt Harvey essentially said no. I think he did say no. He said, no way. And they put him back out there for the ninth inning, leadoff walk, and then a double. And the rest is history. Royals tie it up and then win it in extra innings. You're Terry Collins, Jacob. Do you pitch Matt Harvey in the ninth, or do you pitch Familia, their closer?
Okay, here's the thing. As a pitcher, I want to take it upon myself to finish the game off. I know how the bullpen has struggled this postseason so far, with Familia blowing 2 saves already. And if I'm feeling good, I'm going to say I want to go in the ninth. And as a manager, I'm going to accept that. But I'm going to have him on a tight leash because he's already over 100 pitches. After that first walk, he's out for me. I don't leave him in. I don't care what you say. Familia's warm in the bullpen. He comes in. Game's over. We're going to a game 6.
Mm-hmm.
So Terry Collins might have. He managed so well throughout the entire postseason.
Yes.
But I feel like he wanted to coach towards his player, especially Matt Harvey, because he's gotten a lot of flack from his regular season outbursts of, I only need to pitch 180 pitches. And that
108 innings.
Yeah, innings. And I feel like he wanted to put Matt Harvey in not only the players' good graces, but the fans' good graces as well, by saying he went out there and pitched us a complete game and got us
going for like the storybook ending.
Yeah. And that's something you can't do as a manager, and it costs him.
Yeah, and Collins took the fall. He said it was they lost because of him, but it was the right decision to send Harvey out, I think. Familia had blown 2 saves in the World Series.
But would you have kept him in after the walk?
After the walk, no, probably would have taken him out. But people are saying it was the mistake to send out Harvey in the first place. But I don't know. You gotta put your ace out there and give him a chance to win, and don't put it in the hands of the bullpen. Even if you would have put in Familia, Royals probably would have scored anyway. I mean,
but they might not have scored 2. They might have only scored 1, and you still get the W.
Yeah, the Royals score in the 9th inning, though. That's what they do. They did it all postseason. And so I feel like it was just going to happen if you put out Sandy Koufax.
If you put out
the Royals still would have scored 2 runs, maybe even 3.
No. I think you're downplaying how good Sandy Koufax was.
Well, yeah, Koufax was good, but I think the Royals were very good.
It just felt like it was their year this year.
That's what I'm saying.
But they would have won the series anyway, but the Mets probably would have pushed it to a Game 6 if they brought Familia in after the walk. Because as you could see, he got 3 consecutive outs.
That's true.
And then a bad throw by... If Lucas Duda puts the ball right on the plate...
Hosmer's out.
He's out by a mile. It's no question. So there's too many what-ifs.
How about this what if? What if David Price signs with the Cubs?
This is interesting, and I absolutely love talking about this because David Price... Everyone pegs him to go to the Cubs. Well,
he's from Chicago.
He's from Chicago. Former manager Joe Madden, but I don't know if that's the only team you need to be looking for. You got Greinke opting out in L.A. He will probably re-sign because that's the only team that can pay him as much as he wants. But they still need a number 3 starter, and they're going to blow as much money as they want. Dodgers are an option. My sleeper, though. And it goes against how the team works. The St. Louis Cardinals, they are just signing that new TV deal with Fox Sports for $1 billion. That's
a lot of money.
Yeah, it doesn't compare to the one that the LA Dodgers signed, but it's still $1 billion. They're going to have a lot of money to spend. And as you can see, the way that this league is going is that you can't just have one stud starting pitcher. You need to have 2 studs and a number 3 that could be anyone's number 2. And I feel like David Price on this team matched up with Adam Wainwright, Carlos Martinez, Michael Wacha, Lance Lynn, Jaime Garcia that just re-signed. It would probably give us the best 5 starting pitching rotation in baseball to go along with an offense that should get better next year.
Does Jason Hayward re-sign?
It depends on how much another team wants to pay him. If he's going for 10 years, $200 million, he's gone. But if he comes maybe 7 years, $140 million, he's a Cardinal. And yes, I do think the Cardinals would be willing to spend money on Hayward and David Price.
Does Price want to be a number 3 starter? Because if he goes to the Cubs, he's a number 3 starter behind Lester and Arrieta.
Price is a number 2 on the Cubs. I think Price is better than Lester.
Lester would... Well...
They pay Lester to be a number 1, and he still didn't end up being a number 1 this season. In the postseason, Price would end up being a number 3, but in the regular season, he'd probably be a number 2. In St. Louis... See, David Price's agent has expressed interest in the Cardinals. He said David Price would love to play for the Cardinals.
Does David Price want to bat?
I don't know.
He's been in the AL his whole career. Does he want to...
But the best suitors for him are in the National League. So most of the pitchers know they're going to go up there and strike out anyway.
True.
So that wouldn't weigh. The only thing I'd be afraid of is you tick someone off and they drill you, and that's something that I think should get out of baseball. But I think he's like the perfect Cardinal player. He's upbeat. He's energetic. He's a fan favorite. I've said to myself, if David Price comes to St. Louis, he's my new favorite Cardinal.
I don't think he will. Webster Public Safety has an announcement. Regardless of efforts to provide a safe campus, there is no guarantee that a person will not become the victim of crime while on campus. The possibility does exist and is always present. Crime prevention on campus is not just the responsibility of the Webster University Department of Public Safety. It is a shared responsibility between the individual and the Department of Public Safety. Students, faculty, and staff must accept the responsibility for helping to maintain a safe environment. Be prepared. Save Public Safety's emergency contact number in your phone now. It is 314-968-6911. Again, that's 314-968-6911. This has been a public service announcement from Webster's Galaxy Radio, your station, your voice. I saw this headline the other day. How about Johnny Cueto to the San Francisco Giants? Do they win the World Series then?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It's
an even year.
That's true. And it seems like if they don't make it in the postseason one year, the next year they're probably going to go and win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
But, I just...
You said last show Johnny Cueto going to NL team.
He has to go to a National League team. He is a Cy Young caliber pitcher in the National League, and he is a number 3 or number 4 starter in the American League. I think he has to stay in the National League, and I can see that happening. It'd be a good fit because he wouldn't have to be a number 1. Madison Bumgarner is your number 1. Then you go Cueto, but you got Posey, you got Belt, you got Crawford.
Hunter Pence was injured most of the year.
Hunter Pence, but he's obviously getting older. Angel Pagan is getting older.
Yeah, he's not good anymore.
But Matt Duffy at third base, he's a young stud, batting .300. It's a good team, and it bring into question that they could compete with the Dodgers if they had Cueto. So it's interesting.
And they didn't have Cueto, and they were in the They were in the NL West run there till like the last week of the season. So,
yeah. And the Dodgers are a mess anyway right now. That can't even find a manager. It seems like
they're interviewing someone today.
Well, yeah,
Kirk Gibson, who hit the home run in 1988. For all you listeners out there that were alive in 1988.
Do you know the story behind that?
He was injured, man. He hit a home
run. The
guy
couldn't even walk.
I know he was injured. That's pretty crazy.
The bigger story is the Washington Nationals are just turning into the biggest joke in baseball. You say you're going to sign Bud Black, which I thought would be great because Bud Black loves working with pitchers, and he's shown it statistically. He's great with pitchers. And you got Strasburg, you got Gio Gonzalez, you got Max Scherzer.
Zimmerman if he resigns.
Which I don't think he will.
He's going to Boston.
I love how you're predicting all this stuff. Let's see how it actually turns.
100% right. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Write it down.
I think he could get the most out of those starting pitchers. Then all of a sudden they say, "Oh no, we're going to sign Dusty Baker."
Well, Bud Black rejected them. He said, "I don't want 2 years, $2 million."
Well, because also that there were reports that said they wanted Dusty Baker over him anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, the Nationals are just a mess.
Bryce Harper is going to waste his prime years for a joke of a team. And that's sad because he is probably one of the most talented players in baseball.
Hey, but at least he got in a fight with Jonathan Papelbon in the dugout.
That guy was getting in fights in minor league baseball with the entire opposing team. He don't care.
They should do a thing where the 2 worst players on the team, before getting cut, they have to fight, and whoever loses gets cut. Granted, if we did that on the Webster basketball team, I would be cut.
What? You don't give yourself a fighting chance?
No, I can't fight. Oh, I cannot fight.
Maybe you can outrun him. I hear you're doing a lot of conditioning drills.
Yes. Webster basketball, man, starts first game is November 14th.
In your home state, too.
Yeah, man.
How exciting is that?
I think I'm going to have like my whole fan base of 4 people there. So
he's going to buy everyone tickets.
Yeah, man. If you are in Iowa and listening, November 14th, Webster basketball plays Central College. Do you know one of my friends plays for Central College?
Does he play on the varsity team?
Last year he played on the JV team, so...
Ooh, interesting.
So, yeah.
A little trash talk going on.
Yeah, I'll say, man, you're the worst. That's my trash talk.
Oh. So you don't go like Kevin Garnett does and just Google everything bad and then talk about their mother?
They say Kevin Garnett... I can't say...
He's the best trash talker ever. That's what they say.
Yes. Let's talk about Minnesota sports. Segue.
That was a beautiful segue.
Minnesota.
Except we only care about St. Louis sports here. So,
Well, on Sunday, you'll care about Minnesota sports because they're going to whoop up on the St. Louis Rams. Vikings-Rams, Sunday at noon. The Rams are at a measly 4-3, while the Vikings are at a robust 5-2.
first of all, tell me who the Vikings have played.
Tell me who the Rams.
Yeah, don't even say that because they beat the Arizona Cardinals and the Seahawks.
And the Seahawks are so good this year.
They are on the rise. You know they've allowed 15 points in their last 2 games. That defense is back.
But it wasn't in the first few weeks of the season. No, the defense has never been the problem for the Seahawks. It's been the offense.
And, the offensive line is slowly getting better. But Marshawn Lynch, I feel like, is starting to show signs that he's getting older. But Jimmy Graham is finally coming along. He's more involved in the offense, and Russell Wilson, most frustrating quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, here's who the Vikings have beat. They've beaten the Lions twice.
Okay, probably the first overall pick in next year's NFL draft. They beat the Bears. Probably the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft.
Hey, but they won in Chicago, something they hadn't done since 2007.
I could put a high school team together that would beat the Chicago Bears in Chicago.
Oh, yeah? Could you? Could you now, Jacob? Because I don't think you could.
If I just had Alabama's recruiting class every year, yeah, that'd be all a bunch of high schoolers.
Okay, so they've beaten the Lions twice and the Bears. So they're 3-0 in their division. That's pretty dang good.
So are the Rams.
They've beaten the Chargers.
That's a decent team.
And they've beaten the Chiefs.
Another joke of a team. Who'd they lose to? They lost to the Broncos and the 49ers.
Week 1, they lost 3-20 to the 49ers.
I don't count that game.
First week, you just toss it out.
And they played the Broncos hard.
It was 20-23. The Broncos kicked a game-winning field goal.
Yeah, and against all the AFC West opponents, the worst loss was by like 3 points last year.
Yeah, and it was in Denver. So
yeah, but I'm not downplaying this game. I think the Vikings are a good team. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater's come back. Stephon Diggs has come out of nowhere.
Steal of the draft. He might be the best player in the draft.
Let's see at the end of the season because you got Tyler Lockett in Seattle.
Yes.
That guy's a stud too. But they got a top 10 defense total defense. You got a wide receiving core that has a bunch of weapons that just don't seem to play up to their ability. I mean, Cordero Patterson
he's out of the rotation now.
Yeah, he has the ability to be something special. He can't catch the ball and he can't learn
he can't run routes.
He can't learn the playbook. You got Adrian Peterson, obviously. You got Matt Khalil at left tackle. He's a decent left tackle. I thought losing Phil Loadholt on the right side. That guy is massive.
And the Vikings starting center hasn't played yet this year.
And he won't. John Sullivan?
No, he was on injured reserve designated to return.
Did they not move him to just regular season IR?
No, he can come back in week 9.
Okay.
So John Sullivan's going to be back week 9.
But if you look at the numbers, it's actually really interesting on how similar these two teams are. Offensively, the passing game is weak. The running game is strong.
Yes.
Defensively, the Rams are 6th in total defense, and the Vikings are 7th in total defense. The only difference is the Rams make more plays on defense. They get more takeaways. They get more sacks. The Vikings defense is more just, we're going to bend but don't break, and we're going to
give up field goals.
Yeah, field goals. And, that defense could work against the Rams, but the Rams seem to struggle when they're turning the ball over, which is true for almost any team. But you see against the Packers, they turn the ball over 4 times, it's no shot. They don't turn the ball over, they can compete with anybody.
Yeah, and another similarity, Todd Gurley first in the NFL in rushing yards per game, 115, and Peterson second at 90 per game. Gurley, big 25 yards per game more, but he missed a few games at the start of the season.
I'm not going to be that guy that's like, I predicted Todd Gurley from day one to be a stud. No, I
think you're going to be that guy right now.
No, I was watching the draft, and I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to see who they're going to pick, and I hear Todd Gurley, and I almost throw my TV out the window.
Out of excitement or anger?
Out of anger.
What?
Because we had a loaded backfield to begin with. And then we're drafting a guy with an ACL injury. And, if he wasn't hurt, the guy goes top 3.
Yes.
But I thought there were other pressing needs at the time, such as offensive line, but the only offensive lineman that was worth taking that high was Brandon Scherf, and he got drafted already. So I thought defensive back, because I'm not the biggest fan of Janoris Jenkins, even though he's having a pretty good year this year. So I thought Trey Wayans out of Michigan State, who ended up going to the Vikings. But obviously the Todd Gurley pick has worked out. And the Rams
worked out on my fantasy team too.
The Rams finally have an offensive weapon that they can rely on week to week that is an absolute stud. And that is something they've been looking for a long time.
We want to encourage you guys to check out the Webster Journal for all your news about Webster University athletics. It's the centennial, in case you guys didn't know. Webster is 100 years old.
That's old.
That's flipping old, man.
Yeah.
So check out the Webster Journal. It's all around campus right now, so I was delivering it. So my hands are all dyed from the ink. But check out the Webster Journal for all your Webster news. There's a really good story in there.
Oh, don't even pitch your own story, Kevin.
Crap, I'm trying to remember who wrote it. Someone wrote a story. His name was Kevin Smith. He wrote a really good story, so check that out. That's on the back page.
Yeah, let's just give a little love to the sports section.
Sports section was very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. I try. Sometimes it's hard working with you, but we get it done anyway.
I will encourage you guys out there listening to check us out on Facebook. Here's the thing. Just look that up on Facebook, and you can talk to us. Who do you think is going to win, Rams or Vikings? So for our Facebook fans, who do you think is going to win, Rams or Vikings? We'll see who's right. Probably Vikings.
If I had to choose with my heart, it's obviously the Rams. But if I was going to put like some outrageous amount of money, this is a game that the Rams are probably going to lose because it's a road game
on the road
at a non-divisional opponent. So
this is the first time since 2006 that the Rams are over 500 in November.
Yeah, it feels good as a Rams fan. I'll let you know, man.
That's embarrassing, man. It's November. You play like seven games and you can't get over 500 in 9 years.
Sorry that we didn't have the best running back in the NFL like you did.
I forgive you.
Sorry that we play in the hardest division in football.
Okay, it used to be the worst division in football.
And then 1 year it turned around like that.
But you haven't been good in 9 years. And listen, the Seahawks were 7-9 and won the division.
That was Sam Bradford's rookie year. I remember.
Yeah, so there's no excuse for never getting over 500 in 9 years. In November.
I almost teared up in Sam Bradford's rookie year when I saw us losing to the Seahawks week 17.
I watched that game.
I did too. Actually, I made my entire family sit in the living room and watch it. And we lost. I had my Rams jersey, and I was like, let's go. And then we're losing, and then I ended up getting sick. And I was like, oh, great.
Do you know the worst loss that I can remember as a Vikings fan?
Let's hear it.
So I was watching the Vikings in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, against the Saints?
Against the Saints. I was watching in the basement. My parents had a bunch of family friends over and their kids. So the kids were watching in the basement. My parents were watching it upstairs. My dad grew up a Vikings fan. That's why I became a Vikings fan, okay? But this is a complicated story. The New Orleans Saints used to have their training camp up in Madison, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Or La Crosse, Wisconsin. I can't remember. They used to have
now they have it at Minnesota State Mankato, just plugging them.
So the Saints had their training camp up in Wisconsin where my parents used to live. And my mom got a game-worn Saints jersey. And so she was watching upstairs. All the adults were watching upstairs. All the kids were watching in the basement. And my mom, I think just to spite me, I don't know, everyone upstairs was cheering for the Saints. And when Brett Favre threw that interception, like the house shook because everyone was jumping up and down. And I just hear everyone yelling like, woo! And I'm in the basement like crying. I almost cried. I really did.
There was a joke going around about that game. It was Adrian Peterson and Brett Favre opened up a bakery. Do you know what their signature dish?
Turnovers, man.
Turnovers. Woo! Yeah, old gunslinger Brett Favre.
Yeah, that was not a good game, man. It was sad, and the Vikings haven't been the same since. Probably because they thought Tavares Jackson was a good starting quarterback for like 4 years.
Yeah, you're not a very good quarterback when they have to call a 40-year-old man to come replace you.
Yeah, so check out the Vikings beating the Rams on Sunday. I found this interesting stat about the Vikings. They only have 39 penalties this year, the lowest in the NFL. They only have 3 special team penalties, lowest in the NFL. Only 12 penalties on offense, lowest in the NFL. That's something that young teams, Vikings are a young team, I say. That's something that you don't see very often, and that's, I think, why they're winning games. They're winning close games because they don't have stupid penalties. Can they do it again?
And that's one thing that the Rams have struggled with for a long time. They're doing better this year. Last game they had a lot of stupid penalties, but on the road you can't have penalties. You can't be giving up free yardage. I'd be interested to see how that Vikings team handles the defensive line of the Rams, because they can force some false starts and some holding penalties just themselves. And the Vikings have a relatively experienced offensive line, so that's probably the matchup of the game.
So yeah, let us know who's going to win, Vikings or Rams. Correct answer, Vikings. Yes. Let's talk about the Rams, though. Their stadium.
Oh God.
This was news. Not news of them moving or whatever, new stadium going to Los Angeles. None of that. Their current stadium, they have a concrete ring around the outside, just outside the field in front of the stands.
Yeah.
In front of the stands. And 2 weeks in a row now, a opposing player has gotten injured on that concrete. 2 weeks ago, Josh McCown couldn't stop, and so he ran into the wall. It looked kind of funny because it just like he tried to give like the wall a chest bump, hurt his shoulder.
It looked like Gus Frerotte.
Gus Frerotte.
Washington Redskins.
That's when the Vikings were good, when they had Gus Frerotte as like a 40-year-old. Vikings need a 40-year-old quarterback. I think that's the thing. But
who's the next 40-year-old? Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. There you go.
No Tom Brady, thank you. And then last week, Reggie Bush slips on the concrete, tears his MCL, out for the year. You got angry at something Woody Page said.
Oh, my goodness.
Here we go.
Woody Page he is part of a show called Around the Horde on ESPN. And they asked the question, what was the worst injury this week in the NFL? And, you have Le'Veon Bell going down. You have Steve Smith tearing his Achilles, maybe out for his career. And then you have backup running back Reggie Bush that is having a horrible season.
And was bad last year, too.
And he runs out of bounds and slips and tears his MCL. He's out for the season. And Woody Page had the audacity to say that concrete ring around the stadium is the reason they will be moving out to L.A. Look at half the NFL stadiums, Woody. They all have concrete. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a player slip and fall on concrete. It happens everywhere. And maybe if you did a little research, Woody, but all signs lead to the Rams staying in St. Louis. But, who am I? I just work for the Galaxy Radio. Woody Page is some big shot that works for ESPN. You hillbilly.
Oh my gosh. That was a bit aggressive.
I can't stand when these people that on these major platforms say some ridiculous thing. It's like Colin Cowherd or Skip Bayless. Like, I know they're paying you.
No one likes Colin Cowherd.
No one likes either of them. They pay them to be controversial, but they end up looking stupid.
If you want to listen to the Galaxy Radio, yes, you should.
Is that even a question?
Yeah, there's multiple ways to do so on your smartphone, which Jacob is playing with right now. You can listen at thegalaxyradio.com on your smartphone. He just got embarrassed. You can
blushing.
You can listen here in the Sphere Drop lobbies. There's little speakers, so you can listen there. If you live on campus, channel 7 on your TV. What? TV, radio?
Really?
It's true. So listen. Thank you.
Please.
You're welcome. Let's move to a different. Do you want to talk more about the injuries to Reggie Bush?
No. That was just.
I don't think it was the Rams' fault.
No, it's not the Rams' fault. That was the most ridiculous thing I heard all day, and I think I heard some pretty ridiculous things that day, and that topped the list. And it only took all of 15 seconds. And the host of the show agreed with him. He won the show because of that. They gave him 3 points for it on the final segment, and he won. I was like, are you kidding me? ESPN.
You love it. You know you do. Last night on ESPN, college football playoff rankings were released. First ones that they have released this season. Top 4, number 1, Clemson. Number 2, LSU. Number 3, The Ohio State University. And number 4, Alabama. Do you have any gripes with the top 4?
I was shocked that Clemson got the first.
I think a lot of people were.
I think they should be in the top 4? Yes. And I thought 2 would probably be the place for them because I think LSU would have gotten number 1. Just because they play in the SEC and SEC teams get a favorable boost anyway. Do I agree with it? Yeah, I the order may be different, but those 4 teams probably would have been my 4 playoff teams right now. You got so many question marks, like 8-0 Memphis, who beat Ole Miss, who beat Alabama, and if you want to play it like that, then they should be obviously in the top 4. But obviously they play a weak schedule. But then you say they play a weak schedule. They have a stronger schedule than Baylor, who's number 6.
Yeah, but Baylor's advantage is that they were averaging like 59 points a game.
And the committee is supposed to put into play injuries. That's what they're there for. And if you lose your starting quarterback that is putting up 60 points a game for you, you have to put that into question. And how can you put Baylor over, again, an undefeated Michigan State team, undefeated TCU team, undefeated Iowa team, and a one-loss Florida team?
You put all of those teams over Iowa.
You have to see how they play with a new quarterback. And the guy's talented. He was a big-time recruit for Baylor. But you're a freshman. You don't know how that's going to work out.
I think Memphis. I want to see Memphis make the college football playoff.
That'd be great.
That'd be hilarious.
And everyone will be like, "Oh, you can't get ratings that way." No, I'm going to watch that game over Alabama versus Clemson I want to see Memphis, man.
I want to see Memphis play Alabama.
Oh, well, I'd want to see that. And Paxton, their quarterback for Memphis,
might be the best quarterback in the nation.
That's debatable. There are some pretty good quarterbacks.
I said might be. Might be the best pro prospect.
No. The Christian Hackenberg at Penn State is...
That guy for the 4 years, they've been saying that. And every time it's like, okay, here's the season. I'm going to throw 12 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
Go look at his stats right now.
Okay, I'll look at his stats.
Christian Hackenberg and Connor Cook. I like Connor Cook from Michigan State. And he's up there, though. He's top 5.
I think he's number 2.
After who?
I think he's number 1.
I'd like to see that. Memphis versus like an Alabama. But you just know that Alabama would dominate them. And
do we?
I would think so.
Yeah, Memphis has an awful defense, but they put up points.
They put up points, but what's the cliche?
Okay, Hackenberg's having a pretty good year this year.
Yeah, and early on in the season,
13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
He was having accuracy issues, but lately he stepped up. And the biggest issue for that Penn State team was their offensive line.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about last year when he threw 12 touchdowns and 15 interceptions.
Yeah, but that was under a new coaching staff, James Franklin coming in from Vanderbilt, and he lost a lot of weapons on the outside. But
Paxton Lynch,
18
touchdowns, 1 interception, nearly 2,700 yards. And last year he threw 22 touchdowns. So And he's 6'7", man.
He is huge, and he's very athletic, which his an opposite of huge quarterback, Deshaun Watson of Clemson, has been putting up some pretty good numbers this year.
Yeah.
And him in that Clemson offense is dangerous.
Yeah. And Clemson's lucky they're in the ACC.
You still got to go up against Florida State, who always puts out a talented defense.
Yeah, but that you win that game and you're in.
Basically.
Yeah.
But they also beat Notre Dame, who is number 5.
Yeah. Yeah, Clemson's a good football team. I'm not saying that they're bad.
And I think this weekend really determines a lot for the college playoff with Alabama versus LSU. And
big game.
I am going to watch that game from start to finish. Leonard Fournette, stud. I think he could have went pro right out of high school. That's how.
If it wasn't for the rules.
If it wasn't for the rules. He wouldn't have been a first-round draft pick, but he'd get drafted. And Leonard Fournette versus Deshaun Hand, Reggie Ragland. That defense for Alabama has been dominant this season. And I want to see if they can actually slow him down, because no one else has, obviously. And it just seems like, we'll contain him for a quarter, and then all of a sudden it's a 50-yard run here and then a 70-yard run here, and by the end of the game he's got 250 yards. Like, this guy's unbelievable, and he's almost a lock for the Heisman this year.
Yeah, who do you have winning that game? And we want to put it out to the fans. Check us out on Facebook. Here's the thing. Who's going to win, Alabama or LSU? I'm leaning towards LSU.
I am too. I think LSU's defense is very underrated. I don't think Jake Coker for Alabama is going to be able to complete a pass, honestly. Their defensive backfield is pretty solid with a couple future first-round draft picks in Kevin Tolliver. And yeah. But I think their defensive line is underrated, and the only thing that keeps them from winning is their quarterback play. If their quarterback can give them maybe 150 yards passing, maybe a touchdown. He's got a bunch of targets. Malachi Dupree is a future first-round pick. And he's something that Alabama has struggled with a lot. He's a mobile quarterback that can run the option, and that's something Alabama's defense has struggled with a lot, even in the SEC.
Yeah, let us know who you think is going to win, Alabama or LSU. That's a big game, always a big game. And as we've seen in the past, just because one of them loses doesn't mean they both can't make. And with 4 teams now, if one of them loses, they could still both make the playoff.
There are just so many options this year, being that
That's true.
Right now are 10 undefeated teams, being that Toledo lost 2 nights ago or last night.
Iowa State should have beat them.
Don't even get me on Iowa State. You got something on me.
Oh, yeah. Iowa State beat Texas.
Yeah. That was pitiful. But how is the polls going to respect an SEC team? And are they going to give any credit to Big Ten teams, being that there are 3 undefeated Big Ten teams? The Big 12, there are 3 undefeated Big 12 teams. And sleeper pick Stanford.
No, just 2.
They got Oklahoma State, TCU,
Oklahoma State, yeah, you're right.
Stanford is the only logical choice out of the Pac-12 if they can go undefeated the rest of the season.
Utah? They only have 1 loss?
They only have 1.
Then can they make the rise back up?
I don't think
they
so.
Got destroyed by USC.
By USC. But Stanford plays Notre Dame near the end. I think it's the last game of the season, actually. And if they could stay undefeated, that'll be like their conference game or their conference championship, and it could leave a lasting impact on their decision-making process.
So that's a big game this weekend. We want you to check that out. We also want you to check out Webster Campus Events. And here's one for you. Jacob, do you have campus events?
I like to get out every once in a while. Get involved. It's how you meet people. It's good to meet people.
You know where you should meet people, Jacob?
Where should I meet people?
At Dance Through the Decades. Find your dancing shoes November 13th for the grand finale of our year-long centennial celebration. The event is free, beginning from 9:30 to 11 p.m. Registration online is requested, and tickets are required. This event brought to you by Webster's Galaxy Radio. I think you should go dance. See if you can dance with Beth Strobel.
I'm a killer dancer, man.
You're going to dance with Beth Strobel?
No. Just a simple answer to that one is no.
You know what we should talk about
What should we
for
talk about?
the next 7 hours?
Okay.
The NBA.
This is your jurisdiction, man.
Yeah, man. You want to talk about Kobe Bryant? Let's talk about Kobe Bryant.
Tell me what you want to know about Kobe Bryant.
Here's a couple interesting stats about Kobe Bryant's start. Actually, here's a lot of interesting stats.
Hold on.
Is Beth Strobel listening and she wants to dance with you?
No.
Oh.
But we did get our first comment in the Facebook group.
All right.
It is from a listener named Reagan Dempsey.
All right.
Back on our talk about the college football playoff, where do the Gators factor into this? The answer to that is nowhere. Because
I don't know if that's true. They can win the SEC. If they win the SEC, they're in.
But Treon Harris is their starting quarterback right now. He's talented, and their defense is great.
Their defense is legit.
But you also have the other conference that includes Alabama, LSU.
They only have to beat LSU or Alabama once, and that's in the SEC championship
But those
game.
teams are so much more talented that will take advantage of a quarterback like Treon Harris.
No, Florida against LSU, Treon Harris got the start, and the score 35-28. It was a close game.
But they exposed that defense for 35 points. That was probably the most points that anyone had scored on.
And Florida exposed LSU's defense for 28 points.
They're not.
Florida has the number one punt return team in the country.
But LSU does not solely rely on their defense like Florida does.
The game-winning touchdown was a fake field goal. So it wasn't really
the Mad
defense.
Hatter Les Miles.
If Florida can win out, they're in the SEC. They're in the playoff.
They hold their own destiny to get to the championship game. And the rest of their schedule looks pretty weak other than Florida State. Actually,
That's always a big game.
They don't play any conference games. They've already played their entire conference schedule. The rest of their season is non-conference games, I'm pretty sure.
Have they? I'll look it up.
I know they end their season with Florida State every year.
Yeah.
And, that's a possible loss because that's two
rivalry game always,
and two good defenses.
Well, they do have some conference games left.
Who is it?
They play Vanderbilt on Saturday.
Win.
Vanderbilt's awful. They're playing South Carolina.
Win.
And then they play Florida Atlantic.
Win.
And then Florida State.
Yeah. So it'll come down to the last game of the season, and then it'll come down to the conference championship game.
I think even if I'm not mistaken, even if all they have to do is win their two conference games, and they're in the SEC championship game.
Actually, they only have to win one. They're guaranteed.
Well, yeah, but to make the playoff, they have to win out. They have to win their.
They have to win every game.
They have to win their last 5 games.
Yeah,
and I think they can.
I don't think so. I think
they factor in it, but I think they can.
I think that the teams in the West are just too talented.
It doesn't matter if the West is super good, 1 through bottom. All they have to do is beat one of them.
Yeah, and I think that whatever team comes out of the West, be it LSU or Alabama, is going to be better than Florida.
You only have to beat them once.
And, they haven't beaten LSU, and they haven't played Alabama.
And you only have to do it once.
I'm starting to feel that you want to agree with this Facebook commenter.
I think it's a valid. I think Florida's a good football team.
It's a good football team. You need a better quarterback. You need a better offense, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair.
And, that's the only reason why I don't think they have a chance, because
I think they have a chance. I don't know if they'll do it, but I think I don't think they have no shot, like you said, but they have a chance. Yes? Okay.
I'll give it to you.
Let's talk.
Thank you, Reagan.
Thank you for the comment.
Commenting. It's always nice to have someone listening.
Yes. So we have one listener today.
It's better than 0.
True. But tell all your friends and family. We probably have more than one listener, so we'd like to thank everybody that's listening to Here's the Thing. Check us out on Facebook. Look it up. Here's the Thing. Let's talk about Kobe Bryant.
Back on track now.
Yeah. Here's some funny stats about Kobe Bryant. Through the first 3 games, Kobe Bryant had shot it 51 times. Okay?
Okay.
Guess how many times he had passed it? Like, passed it at all. Not assist, passed it.
I'm going to guess 0.
No.
Oh.
56.
Oh, wow.
He had passed it just 5 more times than he had shot it.
That's more than I would have thought.
Also,
Kobe just loves the ball in his hand.
Kobe, through the first 3 games, had passed it to Nick Young a grand total of once.
Swaggy P. He's got to change the name.
Guess how many times Nick Young had passed it to Kobe?
0.
0 times. Yeah.
Great chemistry.
They're just bad. They are 0-4. Here's something interesting. They are 0-4 back-to-back years. When was the last time the Lakers started 0-4, Jacob?
I know I wasn't born.
1957.
Yep, told you.
And they've started 0-4 back-to-back years. Before the season started, Charles Barkley said that
the Lakers would make the playoffs.
No, he said the Knicks are making the playoffs.
I thought he said the Lakers would.
No, he said Knicks. He said the Lakers are the 5th best team in California behind the Warriors, Kings, Clippers, and the Los Angeles Sparks, a WNBA team. Barkley said they were the 5th best team in the state of California.
Oh boy.
I don't think he's wrong.
I
think Byron Scott is going to be fired by December 1st.
I'd agree with that. LA fans are very fickle about their teams losing. D'Angelo Russell has been...
He hasn't played much.
Yeah.
He doesn't play in the fourth quarter.
He averages like 2 minutes a game in the fourth quarter. Julius Randle has done well for them and coming off that foot injury. They have pieces. And the only problem with those pieces is that one of them is Kobe Bryant.
I think they're a better team without Kobe Bryant.
I think they changed their playing style. Like, you have Roy Hibbert in the middle, and I know a lot of people started to hate him in Indiana.
Polarizing figure.
Yeah.
To say the least.
To go along with Julius Randle and D'Angelo Russell, you got pieces that you can build around, except Kobe Bryant is holding them back.
As if you're a Lakers front office employee, do you hope he retires after the year?
Not only just to take him off the team, but his contract is unbelievable. I don't understand why they're paying him so much. It's like that A-Rod contract, except A-Rod is still doing something right now.
Yeah, A-Rod had a good year. Yeah, Kobe Bryant right now. I just had his stats. He's averaging like 15 points a game, but he is shooting. Guess what his shooting percentage is?
I'm going to guess like 38%.
Don't give him that much credit. It's at 32%.
Oh, I was close, though. I was close.
Yeah, he's averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists.
You know what I thought was hilarious? I saw a statistic a few years ago, maybe it was a couple years ago, that Carmelo Anthony has never averaged over 3 assists per game in a season in his entire career. That explains a lot.
Yeah, Kobe shooting 20% from 3-point range. He's shooting 9 3-pointers a game.
Let him do his thing, man.
He hasn't shot
He can't dunk anymore.
The most 3-pointers he shot per game is 6.5 back in 2005. Why is he shooting 9 3-pointers a game now?
Because he can't drive the lane without getting hurt.
Then if you're the Lakers, man, they want him back next year.
You can't bench Kobe Bryant.
I know you can't bench him, but just say, Kobe, I'm sorry.
Take an injury, please.
Get injured. Nah, they don't want that to happen. That'd be sad. I mean, it's going to be sad when Kobe Bryant hangs it up.
Yeah, but
end of an era.
It's weird for the NBA because for those polarizing athletes that you know are going in the Hall of Fame, like in football. When Peyton Manning and Tom Brady retire, it's going to be
Peyton Manning after this year.
game-changing. But, you have Kobe Bryant, who kind of split time, and then LeBron was midway through his career, and then LeBron's coming, and then Kevin Durant's halfway through his career, and then it's like every single superstar, there's someone coming after him. And so it's not like, we're all watching this one player because he's the only great player that is a must-watch. No, you got players everywhere that we all know will be in the Hall of Fame. But so it's to me, as a basketball fan that isn't as committed as you are, it's not going to affect me as much as it would like a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, or in baseball, I don't like a Derek Jeter, stuff like that. But it's still gonna hurt. But at this point, everyone wants him to go, apparently, except not the Lakers.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting him to go so bad, then that's probably when it's time to hang up.
It might be time, man. He just doesn't have it. He doesn't have the ability to get to the rim anymore, and he's compensating for that by shooting, and he can't shoot. And that's a bad combination. We would like to encourage our listeners to join the Galaxy Radio. If you want to work behind the mic like us, or do you want to work behind the scenes, board op maybe, that kind of stuff, you should.
Again, still asking for a board op.
Yeah, if someone wants to help us out.
I don't like Kevin behind the board.
Thank you. For more information, contact Sierra Hancock. You can email her at sierra.nsa12, that's numbers 12, @gmail.com.
I'm pretty sure I saw Sierra walking outside earlier during our show.
She was probably listening.
You can only hope.
Let's talk about Kevin's 3.
Kevin's 3.
This is when I say the 3 best players from the night before of NBA action. I scour the box scores. I watch games.
He uses NBA League Pass on production night.
NBA League Pass while I was attempting to write stories for the Webster Journal. Got a bit distracted.
It's okay, though, because he still turned out a good product.
Here's the thing. You were getting on me for not writing the story fast enough. I got the story done. You were still in the newsroom 7 hours later. Because
I had to lay it out, and then I had to go through all the looks and everything.
Okay, anyway. Check out the Webster Journal. Great story written by Kevin Smith on the back page. Number 1, Kyle Lowry, point guard for the Toronto Raptors. 27 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. That's a full stat line.
That's pretty good, especially for a point guard getting 2 blocks.
The Raptors they're good this year. They're better than they were last year.
They're sneaky good every year.
Yeah, for the past few years, yeah.
They don't have that one dominant scorer for them that they can rely on.
Yeah, I think they're trying to split it between Lowry and DeRozan.
It reminds me a little of your Grizzlies, how they don't have that one dominant scorer, but they have a bunch of guys that could score 20 points if they wanted to.
We don't have to talk about the Grizzlies losing by 50 to the Warriors.
I want to talk about that.
We'll see if we have enough time. We only have like 5 minutes left.
We got 6 minutes left.
Yeah, we'll probably get to it. Number 2, Kenneth Faried. He had 28 points and 15 rebounds in a victory over the Lakers. Kenneth Faried, he's averaging like 16 and 13 this season.
You know who he reminds me of?
Dennis Rodman.
No. Well, yeah, him too. But DeJuan Blair when he was in college. DeJuan Blair was extremely undersized, but he led the team in rebounds every single game.
Just had a knack for getting rebounds.
It's all about positioning.
Yeah, Kenneth Faried. 28 points, 15 rebounds last night. Lakers losing to the Nuggets. And number 3, and the guy that wins it for me last night, Andre Drummond.
Your prediction.
My prediction for Defensive Player of the Year. Listen to this stat line. 3 steals.
For a big man.
25 points. 29 rebounds.
Now that's impressive.
He's averaging 20 and 20 on the season.
That's Bill Russell-like numbers there.
Andre Drummond, if you doubled it. Bill Russell could get 40 rebounds a game. But Andre Drummond, 25 points, 29 rebounds. That's ridiculous.
You don't have anything on my Celtics, man? Come on now.
Celtics aren't good.
That's true.
Here's something. David Lee, their like big acquisition of the summer.
St. Louis product.
Yeah. Here's something interesting about David Lee this season. He's made like 4 shots on the whole year, and he has only made 1 shot through contact. So if you touch David Lee, he's going to miss it.
He's a softie.
You're not wrong.
Got to represent the St. Louis area, man. Come on now. It's okay. We got Bradley Beal. Soon to be Jason Tatum, too.
Bradley Beal's having a good year.
Stud.
Okay, we have
We have plenty of time to get to your Grizzlies losing by 50. Now, this is the interesting thing. That Kevin, in our previous show, said that teams that his team basically gives up 53 pointers a game.
Yes.
And
no, I said 7,000.
7,000. Which seems to be a little more accurate than mine. And they go up against the one team that everyone knows loves to shoot 3-pointers. And what happened, Kevin?
Memphis led after the first quarter 22-21. That's all I want to talk about. The first quarter is all that matters.
And then it all went downhill from there, and they lost by 50 points.
Worst loss in franchise history. And the funny thing is, like, Memphis lost the season opener by 30. I'm like, dang, that's the worst loss ever. And then they lost by 50 a week later.
What's scary is that Memphis has basically been good because of their defense, and now they can't stop anybody.
They can't score. They can't stop people. Coach Yeager said they looked old, and that's pretty sad 5 games in this season if you're already tired. But Mark Gasol and Zach Randolph showed up to camp out of shape. They got to work their way back in. I think they'll be fine.
Zach Randolph shows up out of shape every single year.
He gets it done. He had 20 and 11 last night.
Being able to jump 3 inches off the ground.
Mr. 2010. But the key for Memphis this year, Matt Barnes.
I'm not a big fan of Matt Barnes.
I hated Matt Barnes when he was on the Clippers. And then when he got traded to Memphis, I was like, no. But I love him now. He's one of those guys. Not on your team, you hate him.
Yeah,
on your team, you love him.
That's how it works.
Man, I'm a big Matt Barnes fan now, and he's key for this team, hitting the corner threes, but more importantly, his defense. He was big last night. He had 3 blocks when he first checked in against the Warriors, but then the rest of the game went down.
What do you think the Grizzlies have to do to improve upon this year?
They got to limit Tony Allen's minutes. And it's sad because like he's the face of grit and grind, but they have to limit his minutes because he's a liability on offense and his defense is slipping.
Is there someone and I know you mentioned this to me yesterday that they were thinking about going and getting Mario Chalmers?
Yeah, they were looking at trying to trade for Mario Chalmers, which I don't like.
Is there someone that you do like that the Grizzlies should go and get?
Yeah, in the summer I was hoping they went after Jamal Crawford. The Clippers were interested in signing Kosta Koufos, who was on Memphis, and I'm saying trade Koufos for Jamal Crawford. Didn't happen. Koufos signs with the Kings. But they need someone. They need a wing scorer, and I thought it'd be Jeff Green, but it's not going to be Jeff Green.
Good old Jeff Green.
He's not the guy that you say, here, get us 20 points a night. It's just not who he is.
No, he's the guy that'll score you 6 points one night, score you 40 another.
And that Memphis needs a 20-point scorer every night. Oh, wait, they had one named Rudy Gay, and they traded him.
And you are still salty about that.
Yeah, try to get him back. I don't care if he shoots a bunch of mid-range shots. He makes them. Well, that's the show. Now I'm ending angry because we talked about this.
I'm ending happy. Okay,
Iowa State beat Texas 24-0. Now you're mad. Thank you for listening to Here's the Thing. We hope you join us again next week. We will be at Wednesdays from 1 to 2 now. We will also make it into a podcast posted on our Facebook page. So if your friend or family member can't listen right now, say, hey, dude, it'll be posted on the Facebook page later on. So Here's the Thing on Facebook. We thank you for listening, and we hope you guys have a great day. Right, Jacob?
Right.
Yeah, have a great day.
Go Rams.
Go Vikings.